Hey travelers! Today I want to talk to you a little bit about my recent experience traveling to St. Lucia. There's a lot of worry and a lot of concern right now regarding the testing requirements both to get into most Caribbean countries and now the new CDC requirement that we need a negative test to fly home. Now keep in mind that I was flying home on day 2 of the new protocol. Day 2. We all know how wonderfully things usually go at the beginning, especially when the government is involved, so I was very worried. But here is how my experience went. Now, St. Lucia does require a test in order to get into the country. You have to present a negative COVID test taken within 7 days of your arrival. Keep in mind, the requirements for each country vary slightly in terms of time frame and the test requirement. So make sure that you know what the country you're going to requires. St. Lucia requires a PCR test, which is the lab test, and they require it within 7 days of your arrival. That was easy peasy. I just made an appointment at my local patient first. They had plenty of appointments. They'll do the test for travel. I went in, 20 minutes, in, out, done. 2 days later, I had my results. Now, St. Lucia requires you to upload the results and also fill out a travel authorization. I did both of those things, got my approval, good to go. When I checked in here in Norfolk, Virginia, where I live, they checked that. They checked my authorization. They checked my negative COVID test. You will not be able to check into your flight online because they need to check those 2 items. And when she checked them, good to go. One note, the scariest thing she said to me, the check-in agent, was that I was one of the few people who showed up with the proper documentation. She said most people are showing up without it. You don't have the proper documentation, you are not getting on that plane. End of discussion. So off I went to St. Lucia. My documents were all checked and I was good to go. Arrived in St. Lucia, having a great time, doing my live event. It was awesome. Now, I was a little worried about how things would work at the resort. Again, this was a brand new protocol and they had a week to get things in place. The important thing to remember is not all resorts are offering testing on property. So you want to make sure you're going someplace that is, because you don't want to have to go off to some lab somewhere that you don't know to get your test. Plus, not all resorts are offering them for free, even if they are on property. I have seen prices as high as $275 per person. That's a lot of money if you're traveling with a family. So you want to be sure your resort is offering the test on property and for free. Sandals is. And they had things down because I was worried. The day before I needed my test, I got a note in my room with my appointment time. And they had cleared out one of the guest rooms to use as a testing clinic. So you didn't have to go anywhere, but I had to go to another building. Some of my traveling companions actually were right across the hall, so it was great. I went over. 10 seconds later, I was done. I literally presented my passport. They filled out a form, a 10-second test, and I was done. In fact, I videoed it. So take a look. Here's me getting swabbed.
I included the PCR.
And we got on 10 seconds. That's how long that took. Super easy. So I got the results back in about 4 hours. Again, the United States is allowing rapid tests. Now remember, St. Lucia didn't allow a rapid test on the way in. You needed a lab test, but the United States is allowing the rapid test. You must have it within 3 days of boarding your flight home. So I got my test, I got my results, the concierge printed them out for me. Done. I went to the airport, again, a little nervous. This is day 2 of the protocol. Do they know what to do? Is there going to be an issue? Nope, no issue. I go to check in. She checks my negative test. I had to sign a quick form just stating that I had taken the test and that I didn't have any symptoms. And I was done. That was it. I went home. They never looked at it again. I landed. I went through customs and immigration as usual. Easy peasy. So I tell you all this in case the reason you're not traveling is your concern about some of these requirements. They're really quite easy to fulfill. It may seem a little daunting, especially if you're on the websites, because there's a lot of information, which is where somebody like me comes in, because I stay on top of all this and I can ensure that you have all the documents you need, you have your test, you have everything. In fact, I just sent my own mother to Jamaica, made sure she had all the correct things in hand. But it's really easy to get done. It's easy to get your tests here at home. They're much more widely available than they were a month or two ago, and the results come back much, much faster. And then there are many, many resort chains that are offering the tests on site and for free. So if you do that, easy peasy. So if this is what is stopping you from traveling, don't let it. It's not worth it. You can go, you can have a great time, and you can easily fulfill the requirements. Now, if you're not traveling for health reasons or other concerns regarding COVID, obviously this isn't going to help you. But keep in mind, you can book a trip right through the end of 2023 if you want to give yourself something to look forward to. But if you've been thinking about traveling in the next several months, but have been putting off making that booking because you're afraid of the requirements, don't be. It's not difficult. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and give me a text or an email. All my information is on the end screen. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel because I'll be bringing you lots more great information about traveling during COVID and beyond. Until then, stay well.